Now, the MSU Federal Credit Union Coaches Show.
Coming off a bye last week, Michigan State's football team returns to action this weekend at Nebraska. The last time the Spartans played, they suffered a 45-31 loss to USC. In that loss, linebacker Wayne Matthews was carted off the field with a very scary injury and taken to LA General Hospital. Matthews was cleared by doctors that night and even flew back with the team. He does have a chance to play this weekend at Nebraska, and it's all stuff we discussed with head coach Jonathan Smith this week. Well, coming off of the bye week, what was sort of the approach heading into the bye after the USC game?
Yeah, we started with ourselves, so taking a deep look at us after 4 games, areas where we got to get better, learning schematically, personnel side, how we're using these guys, what's working well, what's not, what can we improve on, what do we need to do different, that type of thing. We took that for a couple of days, and then you dove into your next opponent playing Nebraska. Practiced on Wednesday, emphasis more on what we learned about ourselves. Thursday then was all about out in Nebraska. Did some recruiting, a lot of coaches out and watched high school football on Friday night. Got back, and then Sunday continued to practice for Nebraska.
When you looked at the first 4 games of the year, what was sort of the one thing that you guys really liked and maybe the one thing you didn't like? Yeah,
you're looking at all 3 phases. I think offensively, some of the balance we've had at times in each game, we've liked run game, pass game, things of that nature. Defensively, for the first 3, feeling like we could play the run pretty well, and then not so much in week 4, and so we got to shore that up. I think on special teams, found ways to be explosive in the return game. We want to continue that, but we've got to trim some of the penalty sides that has hurt us. Obviously, the way we're punting the ball has been effective. Eckley's after 4 games, doing it at a high level, and we want that to continue.
Wayne Matthews, who took over the green dot for the ejected by targeting Jordan Hall. Matthews is down, and it's getting very thin in that linebacker room for Michigan State, and we hope Matthews is all right.
Going back to the game with USC, obviously you guys lose Jordan Hall for targeting, and you have the Wayne Matthews injury. How did you see the group handle that, and what did you like about maybe their response in their fight in that third quarter?
Yeah, you got to handle it in regards to losing a guy or two. This is a physical game, and obviously we lost them for different reasons, but it was the same position group. So next guy up, guys going into the game and ready to adjust to the speed of the game, because Wayne and Jordan, first half are playing the majority of the time, and then really both of them are done for the second half. And so I thought we had some guys step up on ourselves to look the way he got into the game. Ice and multiple guys playing it inside, and so that's gonna take place, especially just in mid-season. Not everyone's feeling great. You're going to have a guy go down, whether it's a quarter or for a game, and we need to have the next guy ready to roll.
And with Wayne, obviously, he seems like he's doing a lot better than maybe people would have known back then. But what have you liked about the way he's been coming along throughout the last week?
Yeah, those things are scary, and so give credit to our medical staff in regards to taking every precaution, the protocols, thorough examination. Felt great that he was able to fly back with the team at that point, and then, all the tests continue to show positive signs. He's moving around and lightly practicing, and optimistic for him playing again this next week.
What was the mood just like of the team in the bye week? Just did they have time to just enjoy?
We definitely wanted to get refreshed and recovery, have a day or 2 off away from the game. I do think the guys who are looking at the practices understand we got to take advantage and improve through this week, and then at the end of the week come back really refocused and refreshed, looking at them move around. Like I said, at the end of the bye week on Sunday, I think we accomplished that.
Last year you guys had a bye week, you come out of it and you beat Iowa, one of the better wins I feel like this group had last year. What was the key to that maybe could help now this year?
Yeah, hopefully we can recreate it. We took our bye week approaches are pretty similar in regards to looking for recovery, getting refreshed, looking at ourselves. We did do all of that, and hopefully we'll play similar football that last year. Different team we played at home last year. We're on the road this year, so there's some differences.
And going on the road to Nebraska, obviously that's one of the tougher environments in college football. How do you get the guys ready now for?
I think guys are excited about it. Call it tough, but an enthusiastic fan base. This place is historic. You think about the sellout streak they've got going, and so that fan base knows they can impact the game, and so we got to be great with our communication and poise to play well in that environment.
With USC being the first road game of the year, did you guys learn anything about the team going on the road, handling adversity in a way?
Some of the guys' first experience going on the road with us, and so kind of our routine, our approach, it was a little bit different because we went the extra day, but the day before and how we travel. And so it was good to get it under our belt, I guess, because you're going back-to-back road games.
Giles rolling to his right, looks off the back, throws it downfield. It's a wide open Krishawn McCray. Touchdown, Michigan State.
With the receiver room, obviously a lot it's talked about with Nick and Amari, but what have you liked so far about with Krishawn McCray? Obviously he had a big touchdown against USC. How is he coming along?
He's a good player. He's a weapon. You mentioned the other two. Krishawn, a lot of heavy workload inside, right, at the slot receiver, and does some good things. We want to continue to build some touches for him because he can make dynamic plays. What
did you like about, obviously he was at Kent State, who had a tough year last year, but what did you like about when you saw the film of him that made him stand out?
Well, the production. We were looking, and really everybody we looked into the portal for us, proven production. He had a bunch of that, could score. He brings in some added value, we'll call it, in the return game. Good returner, and ask him to do some kickoff returns now, so that showed up on last year's tape.
And the last one I got for you, what's the one thing that you think needs to improve on for you guys to get Big Ten wins now?
Yeah, I mean, knowing how competitive it is and the ability to play for truly 4 quarters. I look at a lot of these games in college football, but it's particularly in the league. These are 4-quarter fights. And even back to the SC game, this came down, was a one-score game starting the 4th quarter. It comes down to finishing and playing well in the 4th. And so each week's going to be a fight like that.
Kickoff between the Spartans and Cornhuskers is set for 4 o'clock on Saturday. Later in the month, Michigan State will welcome rival Michigan to Spartan Stadium, and the football team at Michigan State will be hoping to do what 2 other programs on campus were able to do this past weekend. We'll have more on that right after the break.
When you're shopping, do you get cash back with cash?
Nope.
What about when you use a debit card?
Not a chance.
But when you use MSU FCU's Cashback Plus?
Heck yeah.
Get up to 20% cash back on your purchases with Cashback Plus. Dining out? Cash back. Online shopping? Cash back. Home improvement? Cash back. Discover more at msufcu.org/cashbackplus.
Welcome back to the MSU Federal Credit Union Coaches Show.
This past weekend, the Michigan State men's soccer team and volleyball team went up against rival Michigan. For the men's soccer team, they made the trip to Ann Arbor on Friday and were looking for their 2nd straight win over a top 5 opponent. Here's a recap of how things went. Coming off a win over number 3 Indiana at home, Michigan State went up against number 5 Michigan and was looking to keep the Big Bear Trophy in East Lansing. Things were scoreless at halftime, and shortly into the second half, Miles Merritt was awarded a penalty kick, and the junior gives MSU the lead on his 3rd goal of the season. Just over 5 minutes later, though, Shuma Shakia would score his 3rd goal of the season for Michigan and tie things up at 1. The Spartans would not be fazed, though. Freshman Chim Okeke finds junior Richie Ludwig for the go-ahead goal. It would hold up to be the game winner. Goalkeeper Zach Kelly kept the Wolverines in check as Michigan State earned the 2-1 victory over their rivals, keeping the Big Bear Trophy with Michigan State, who picks up its first win over Michigan in Ann Arbor since 2017. Head coach Damon Rensing was still thrilled with the win on Monday about his team earning back-to-back wins over top 5 teams for the first time in program history.
They've used 2 words, unbreakable and together, that this group has kind of used, and they were unbreakable in both of those games, and definitely together. I thought against Indiana, we were up 1-0. I thought we kind of parked the bus, so to speak, a little too early in the game and didn't probably focus a little bit too much on defending. I thought against Michigan, we did a better job of still attacking while having the lead and being secure defensively. So very, very pleased with the guys. They just stayed the course, stuck to the process, and was very good.
Then on Saturday, the MSU volleyball team welcomed in Michigan to the Breslin Center in the first set. Where there's a will, there's a way. Carmen Way gets the kill to put MSU up 6-4. Later in the set point for MSU, a nice dig by the Wolverines. However, the pass is too far and accidentally sets up MSU's Evie Duzema to put down the kill. MSU takes set 1, 25-14. Second set, MSU's Malaya Long tees it up for Carolina Staniszewska, but she's met at the wall by the Wolverines. Amalia Simmons gets the block to tie the set at 20. Moments later, though, Long sets way for the big swing. MSU takes the 23-21 lead. Set point now for the Spartans. Staniszewska serves it over. Michigan's return is going to be too long. MSU wins the set 25-22. Then on match point in the third set, Bianca Mumkular receives the serve, then loops to the pin to put down the kill for the 25-21 set win. It's a Spartan sweep for first-year head coach Kristen Kelsey, who gets her first Big Ten victory as a head coach, and it comes in her first meeting with the Wolverines.
It's still a little surreal, you know. Any win in this league is we'll take it, because this league is just so good. But for it to be home, right, you know, in front of a huge crowd, a whiteout, in 3, I think is really special.
It's a great feeling, and it's my first win in the conference as well. We knew we had it. We knew we had it, and we believed in ourselves. And to win in front of our own fans in Breslin, and it was almost full, so it was just super exciting.
They've been working so hard, and I've said this before, I could not ask for a better group of young people to start this journey with. And so for that success to show up on a night like this for them, I'm so grateful, because they've been working that hard to have this success. So we know we've got 9 weeks of Big Ten left, and then we'll see what happens from there. But it's a really good validation of all of the hard work that they've been doing.
Certainly great wins for those programs. The MSU women's soccer team also had a big win this past weekend. The Spartans took down number 20 Wisconsin on the road 6-0. We'll have more with Jeff Hostler and his team right after the break.
Welcome back to the MSU Federal Credit Union Coaches Show.
This past spring, Michigan State women's soccer coach Jeff Hostler welcomed 10 freshmen and 2 transfers to his squad. One of those transfers is Kennedy Bell, who has had an immediate impact for the green and white this season. Our Kara Adams recently sat down with Bell and has more on her journey to Michigan State and where her love for the game all began.
Entering October, Kennedy Bell leads the Michigan State women's soccer team with 9 goals on the season. But the standout forward wasn't always tasked with playing up front.
It's definitely been different, just playing defensive role, like my only experience in college soccer. It made it a little easier last year at Maryland. I kind of had like a higher role up the field, but definitely different. I think also just with the way that Michigan State plays soccer, like it's not like a forward position I've ever played in my life. So I think that's been really cool to like learn.
Bell grew up in Charlotte, North Carolina, and from an early age, her ability on the pitch was noticed.
Coach at my club, he just took a liking to me, and he just really helped with communicating with coaches, because like I didn't know what I was doing. I wasn't even thinking about it. My dad, like he's used to football, but I would say football and soccer is very different recruiting wise. And he kind of just like, he told my dad after that showcase, he's like, oh, like so-and-so, like they want to talk to Kennedy. And that was the first thing that I was like, oh, like this is serious. Like the whole point of moving clubs was to like get there eventually, but I guess that was the moment where I think a shift in my mind happened, where it was like, oh, this can really be something, this can happen, like I'm there.
Which led her to commit to the University of North Carolina at age 13. But as she got older, she realized that early decision wasn't exactly what she wanted.
Once I was able to talk to those coaches again, I think it just hit me that like I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't really know what I was doing at 13. So that's when I opened my recruitment back up. And that's when I ended up committing to Maryland.
Her time at Maryland wasn't always glamorous.
Maryland, I think, was a really good building block for me, like not even as a soccer player, just as a person. Because obviously anyone that like looks at results, like it was not easy there. Like we didn't win many games. Like yeah, it wasn't always fun. But I think the main thing that I will say, like I'm forever thankful for from Maryland, is the people that I met first of all, but also the lessons I've learned. Just through like when the things really are not going your way, like it does not feel like anything could work. Like I think it really gave me a mentality to either fix it or like, Kennedy, like why are you just buying into, oh, we're just gonna lose? Like no, there's a mental shift. I think that happened when I went there.
After graduating in 2.5 years, she knew that she wanted something else. So she entered the transfer portal.
I knew I wanted to win. That's one thing. And I also, like I said, the pro aspirations, like I feel like each year just keep building and building and building. And I knew that I want to go to a place where that would get me there. Results aside, just coaching, players I'm playing with every day, the training, all of that. That was like the big thing. That's third time around.
So when you opened up your recruiting process again, entered the portal, what stood out to you about Michigan State? I know you said you wanted to win, but just what else about Michigan State stood out to you?
To me, like Michigan State was just like the epitome of like good soccer, winning, grit, like from playing them both years, and obviously like seeing them play and winning the Big Ten my freshman year, like things like that. Like to me, they were just like the epitome of the things I wanted out of soccer, and for them to reach out, like I had to come take a visit at least. But once I got here, like there was just a vibe that, first of all, when I met Jeff, just like the questions he asked, the vibe, like the energy he brought, like in everything he does, like he wants to win, and I think he embodies that and tries to have us embody that. And like if you don't want to win or you don't hate to lose, like that's not, I could tell this wasn't the place to be if I don't hate to lose.
Belle was sold and she committed to Michigan State, and her family was just as excited. Her dad, Myron Bell, played football at Michigan State in the 90s.
He was so excited. Yeah, he was so excited, but at first I was all like, I don't know, like maybe I want to go closer to home. So he's like, okay, she probably won't go, but like at least we're going to take a visit. And then I actually didn't tell him like where Michigan State was as I went through my process, like in my mind. And then once I told him like, oh, I'm down to Michigan State and so, he's like, oh, like, okay. And then I didn't tell him I committed here until after the fact, so that he was super excited. He tried to like hide it, but he can't hide it very well. Yeah, he was super excited.
With her dad's support, Belle is looking to leave her own legacy in East Lansing.
It certainly seems like Kennedy was meant to be a Spartan. She currently leads the team with 22 points and will be looking for more as postseason play nears for the women's soccer program. Coming up after our final break, we'll sit down with head coach Jeff Hostler to talk more about MSU's success thus far throughout Big Ten play. We'll see you soon.
Welcome back to the MSU Federal Credit Union Coaches Show.
Thanks to their recent 3-game winning streak, the Michigan State women's soccer program finds themselves back in the top 25 rankings at number 16. The Spartans got back to their winning ways with a 4-0 win over USC at home, then went on the road and took down Minnesota 2-1 and beat a ranked Wisconsin team on the road 6-0. Our Tyler Driesinga sat down with head coach Jeff Hostler this week to talk about that success and the season thus far.
Najera puts one in to the back post, the header and the goal from guess who? Kennedy Bell, and it is 5-0.
You talked early in the season about how you felt like maybe your defense was a touch ahead of your offense. Then you go out, beat a top 20 team 6-0. What do you feel like has allowed your offense to turn the corner here as of late?
A big part has been the production of Kennedy Bell and Emerson Sargent, in addition to Kayla Briggs feeling a lot more comfortable. Early in the season, Emmy coming back from a traumatic injury like she had a year ago, I mean, it takes a while before you get the mentality back that you can be ready to go and deal with the full contact. And then Kennedy Bell and Kayla both being in key roles as 9s and 10s. And the attack as transfers, like it's just a totally different system, different level, frankly, from where they came from. And to get those three to gel, it takes time.
You've got Ohio State coming in on Sunday. They haven't given up a goal in over a month. They've given up 3 all year. What makes their defense so difficult to prepare for?
Everything. When Yeah, like you said, when they haven't given up a goal in that time frame, they're very stingy, and I think they probably have the very best goalkeeper outside of Michigan State in the conference. You know, she's an elite shot stopper. It reminds me a lot of our last year with Lauren Kozel, where we played in such a big shape, where we were a bit vulnerable on the counter, and knowing that she'd have to come up with some big time saves. So Molly's done a great job in that for them. That's a big part of what they do.
And you've talked about the challenge of replacing the leadership of Justina Gaynor, Caitlin Park, some of those kids from last year. Now that we're you know, in the Big Ten play, who are some of the kids that you've really seen step up and kind of fill that leadership void?
Yeah, I think some of it was intentional. You know, Reagan Dalton's been here since we arrived in East Lansing. And you know, to have someone with that kind of experience, that understanding of how the coaches go about our business and wanting our players to do it, we've got a lot of young players that can try to emulate her. She's got a great field presence. She always says the things that need to be said, and is welcomed with the group that way. Bella Najera has continued to take massive strides in the leadership phase. Maggie just doing what she does. You know, Maggie's not the most vocal person in the locker room or outgoing, but she puts everything she has into it, and everyone knows that she's going to give her best effort and cares. And honestly, like having Kennedy and Kayla's different perspectives added to the group, they've started to have a bigger voice.
I wanted to ask you about Reagan. You know, she's the only kid that's been here longer than you have at this point. What has she meant to you and kind of her stability through your first 5 years here?
Yeah, man, I love that kid so much. She's been through so much, dealt with so much adversity with the injuries she's had to overcome. You know, to come back for a sixth season with the focus of just being the best player and teammate that she can to help this team when we were potentially in a transitional leadership phase that we outlined. Has done such a great job bridging that gap, empowering those people that are here and younger to take over some of those roles too. Is just a dynamic player with a great attitude that gives everything she has and is a Spartan through and through.
She's had some great moments here. You've guided the program to 2 Big Ten championships in your first 4 years. What can you take from those previous Big Ten title runs and apply to this year as you are in the thick of the conference race again?
Yeah, I mean, coach speak is always that you got to stay in the moment and be where your feet are. Focus on the process, trust the process. All those things are 100% relevant and they matter. But sometimes you have to talk about what's at stake for the group to understand what you believe in. And with the success of this program, the success we've had, not just in the Big Ten, but in the NCAA tournament, in the postseason, there's an expectation. And I think the players wear that as a badge of honor. And we had a conversation this past week about how, you know, a dropped result at Rutgers and maybe not pushing all the way for the 3 points against UCLA like we had an opportunity to do so. You know, now we've left points on the table where we have to, we can't drop any other ones if that's an honest goal for us. And we can't go into each game preparing, thinking about that. But we talked about how the experience, we're set up as well, if not better than anybody in our conference to go and chase that because we know what it takes to do that. We've done it.
You hear coaches and teachers talk all the time about how, you know, the kids have taught me more than I've taught them. What are some of the things that you're learning from this group?
Sometimes it's okay just to have a little fun. Just good old genuine fun. You know, have a laugh, connect a bit with the group in that way. Last week being on the road for 6 days is a long time. To be away from your family, it's a long time for them to be away from their apartments and home, and you're just with your extended family. You know, it's all part of it. And so being able to have some laughs, play some games. I apparently still have the cheese touch, whatever that means, off the trip. And
that's an old one.
Yeah, they brought it back because we played it last time we were at Wisconsin and we won, so they felt like, you know, the superstitious ones brought it back in while we were in Madison. So, but just to have a little bit of fun, hearing them having fun, you know, on the trip, hearing them enjoy each other, I think is one of the biggest things I've learned about this, or about myself and what I need to have with this group.
After playing Ohio State at home on Sunday, the women's soccer team will then take on rival Michigan in Ann Arbor on Thursday, which is also the same day the Michigan State hockey team has its season opener. Adam Nightingale's squad will begin the year ranked 3rd in the country and welcome New Hampshire for a season opening series on Thursday and Friday at Munn Ice Arena. So we'll have plenty more with the hockey team over the coming weeks. That'll be it for this week's show. As always, we hope you enjoyed, and we'll catch you next week.
Now, the play of the week, sponsored by Chupan & Sons.
OKK into the 18. Back to Ludwig, and it's a goal! Michigan State takes the 2-1 lead. The battle for Big Bear, living up to the hype in Ann Arbor.
When you're shopping, do you get cash back with cash?
Nope,
What about when you use a debit card?
not a chance.
But when you use MSU FCU's Cashback Plus?
Heck yeah.
Get up to 20% cash back on your purchases with Cashback Plus. Dining out? Cash back. Online shopping? Cash back. Home improvement? Cash back. Discover more at msufcu.org/cashbackplus.